Welcome to this explainer. Today we're unpacking a really fascinating and honestly incredibly practical guide based on source material all about the severe roofing challenges in central Oklahoma. If you live in or around Shawnee, well, you already know your home is under constant siege from the elements. We're talking about an environment where the weather isn't just small talk, it's a relentless structural antagonist that constantly tests the absolute limits of your home's first line of defense.
So let's dive right into this. Is your roof silently failing? I know, it's a stressful thought. But our sources point out that the main antagonist for homeowners in the greater Oklahoma City area is the severe local weather, and it usually acts as a totally silent destroyer. You see, long before you ever spot one of those dreaded water stains on your living room ceiling, the elements are already systematically breaking down your roof's integrity. It is quite literally a microscopic battle happening right above your head, day in and day out.
And the stakes with Shawnee's climate are just incredibly high. Temperature swings from freezing winters straight into 100-degree summers put extreme stress on roofing materials. Think about it for a second. You might invest in a roof that's marketed as having a 20-year lifespan, right? In milder climates, that 20-year rating makes perfect sense. But here in Oklahoma, the data tells us those exact same 20-year shingles often fail in just 12 to 15 years, simply because of the sheer environmental stress they're forced to endure.
Section 1. The Oklahoma Weather Threat. You can kind of think of these specific threats as the four horsemen of Oklahoma roofs. First up, spring brings hailstorms that act like a heavyweight boxer just throwing targeted punches at your shingles. Then comes the summer heat, baking and deteriorating those materials. In the fall, we get winds that regularly exceed 60 miles per hour, actively trying to peel back those weakened sections. And finally, winter ice dams force freezing water up under the layers. Oh, and here's a totally wild detail from the sources. It's not just coming from above. The expansive clay soil throughout Pottawatomie County shifts with moisture changes, so it's actually stressing the roof structure from below at the exact same time the weather is attacking from the sky.
Section 2. Spotting Hidden Damage.
Let me let you in on a bit of an insider secret about a scientific concept called thermal cycling. When temperatures swing wildly, from single digits in the winter to over 100 degrees in the summer, the materials on your roof are forced to rapidly expand and contract. Over time, this literally backs the nails right out of the wood, loosens the fasteners, and cracks the protective sealants. The sources actually note that this specific phenomenon affects homes everywhere from around Beard Park all the way to the neighborhoods near Kickapoo Casino. It just wears them down year after year, completely undetected by the naked eye when you're just standing in your driveway.
And then, of course, we have the impact of hail. Hail doesn't just leave a cosmetic dent in your roof, it actually fractures the underlying mat of the shingle and displaces those little protective granules on top. Now, why does this matter? Well, because even if your roof looks completely fine from the ground, those microscopic impacts have heavily compromised your waterproofing. Over the following months, those hidden weak points are going to inevitably develop into full-blown interior leaks.
Section 3. The Ordeal of Insurance and Scams. Now, here's a warning you absolutely need to hear. Missing strict insurance documentation timeframes can cost you thousands of dollars in denied claims. The stakes here are huge. Because the weather damage is so often hidden, a lot of residents don't even realize their roof was compromised until the claim window has completely slammed shut. That's exactly why the source material really emphasizes the need for contractors who know precisely what insurance adjusters are looking for. They need to properly document the impact density before the clock runs out.
This brilliantly illustrates a massive divide in the roofing industry. On one hand, you have local experts. These are companies with year-round crews, an actual physical local address, and full insurance coordination capabilities. Compare that to storm chasers. These are the transient crews that fled an area right after a storm, demand full upfront cash, don't have a local physical address, and completely disappear the second the weather clears. The source provides this impartial comparison just to help us distinguish reliable local pros from some incredibly risky actors out there.
Section 4. The 3-step replacement process.
The source actually breaks this whole complex ordeal down into 3 really digestible phases. Step 1 is inspection and documentation, where every microscopic hail hit and wind lift is mapped out. Step 2 is, well, actually the crucial point here is that the highly detailed documentation gathered in Step 1 is what forces higher claim approvals in Step 2, which is insurance coordination. This ensures adjusters don't miss the true scope of the damage. And finally, Step 3 is installation and final inspection, where a dedicated crew removes all the old stuff, upgrades the system, and leaves your home fully secure.
Section 5. Engineering for Extreme Weather.
130 miles per hour. That right there is the absolute critical standard needed to prevent wind uplift and shingle loss during severe central Oklahoma thunderstorms. If a roofing system doesn't have a 130-mile-per-hour wind rating, those 60-plus mph gusts we talked about earlier, yeah, they'll easily get under the shingle edges, break the sealant bonds, and progressively peel your entire roof apart from the edges inward.
To combat the hail, the source material points us directly to Class 4 impact-resistant shingles. These resist hail damage significantly better than your standard builder-grade products. Now, sure, they might have a higher upfront cost, but they are a super strategic move. The sources explain that this upgrade cost typically pays for itself through insurance premium savings and direct damage prevention in just about 5 to 7 years.
Now, what's really interesting here is this vital building code requirement, a ratio of 1 to 150. You need 1 square foot of ventilation for every 150 square feet of attic space. If you don't have this balanced intake and exhaust, the heat just gets permanently trapped in there. It literally cooks your shingles from underneath, prematurely aging the materials, all while the intense Oklahoma sun attacks them from above. It's a double whammy.
And lastly, for our engineering requirements, we have the ice and water shield. This is absolutely mandatory for vulnerable areas like roof valleys and eaves. In specific areas, like properties out near the North Canadian River, the combination of high moisture and rapid temperature drops creates severe winter ice dams. The ice forces meltwater up and right under the shingles. But this specialized shield acts as a secondary barrier, completely stopping those leaks in their tracks before they can enter your walls and completely ruin your insulation.
Which brings us to a final, pretty provocative thought to leave you with. Are you waiting for prices to drop while your roof silently leaks? The source material makes it super clear that trying to time the market on material costs or labor is just a losing game. A failing roof causes exponentially more costly interior damage the longer you wait to address it. So, the big question remains, is the microscopic damage already done, and what are you going to do before the next storm hits? Thanks so much for joining us for this explainer, and we will see you next time.